y'all, it's Jaemi for Pixi Dust Designs. Today I'm using the Valentine Puppies stamp and die set. These puppies are so cute, and I just love those fonts for the sentiments that say possum friend, I love you, and puppy love. So adorable. I put some clear embossing powder onto my stamped puppies, and then I'm heat setting that with my wow heat embossing tool, and then I run it through my die cut machine. The die cuts so well, and these puppies just pop out effortlessly and are so cute. I decided to put some texture onto my card base. So I'm using this Tiny Dots embossing folder, and I put my card base, just the front panel, into the embossing folder right up to that bottom line. And then I run that through my die cutting machine, and it really creates some wonderful dimension just on the front of my base. I used the pop-up card A die set that you see here to die cut out the outlines as well as the inner part that has some stitching of the rectangle, hearts, and those little squares. Here's where you can see they kind of lay in together, so that outline is really cute with the inner part of the heart. And then we have this mechanism piece, which actually allows you to have a pop-up on the inside of the card. So it's embossed where you can see the lines to fold here, and this is going to be shown later when we put the entire card together. Since I have all of my pieces already die cut, I'm going to start gluing them together. And I'm starting with the inside of my card first. Because my card base is a color card base, I wanted to have the inside panels match the color of the mechanism, which you saw I die cut in white. If you do this yourself, and I highly suggest you do, and I know that you will once you actually see this all come together, I would suggest that whatever your card panels are on the inside of your card, that you die cut your mechanism to be that same color. This will help kind of mask it a little bit and make it a little more uniform, and it won't be so obvious to the eye when your recipient receives the card and opens it. I then glued together all my hearts and my rectangles. I even cut an extra rectangle out because I wanted one for the front of my card. And then I'm going to work on coloring. I pull out my Olo markers and do some quick coloring with them. And then I take a gel pen to add a couple little dots onto the darker brown dog, which kind of makes me think of a deer. So it's a doggy deer. It's so precious though. For the front elements of my card, I took a heart die that I had, and it has a little space for a sentiment. So I cut both of those pieces out, and then I cut out a rectangle to go in the center of my other rectangles. Using the stitched square die to do some partial die cutting, I wanted the stitching to go around the rectangle that's going to go in the center, but I needed it to be a certain size. I then do the stamping onto the sentiment that's going to be for the front, as well as the puppy love sentiment that I'm going to have on the inside of my card. For assembling the front of my card, I take the rectangles that I cut out. In this one, I actually cut out a little bit of a bigger rectangle for the background. I wanted the border to be a little bit thicker on that. And I put that down. I then put my Hugs and Kisses sentiment into the center of this die cut heart, and then I put that onto the rectangles. I think this heart on heart kind of effect looks really cute and makes me definitely think of Valentine's Day. I added some foam adhesive to my little dog, and I'm going to adhere that into kind of the bottom right-handish corner of the front of my card panel. I then put the puppy love sentiment onto the other rectangles, and this is actually going to go onto the inside of our card. We're now going to put together the inside of the card. So using that die that comes in the pop-up card A die set, it is what creates this mechanism that I showed you before. it has all these embossed kind of lines to it, which indicate where you're going to fold. So you're going to fold each of the ends back, and those are going to be the pieces that you glue onto your card. And then you have a place for that sentiment. When I open up my card, hopefully you can kind of see here how that's going to go, where those little tabs are going to glue, and then where the sentiment is going to be on the front. There's some crisscrossy, kind of Xy embossed areas on this, and I found it easy to just fold them back along those embossed lines, the direction that I needed them to be for how they needed to actually fold together. So with this, the sides are actually going to fold inward, and that way the back and the front kind of pop up. Here you can kind of see how I folded that. The crisscrossy area is the area that we're actually going to put our hearts. But first, we need to get this actually onto the inside of the card. So I line everything up. I take some liquid adhesive, put it onto the tab that is a little bit wider actually, and that goes to the bottom of my card. And I'm lining it up where the tab edge lines up to the crease of my card. Hopefully you can see that there when I'm holding it up. I held this down a little bit just to make sure the glue was really good and set. And then I move on to placing the top tab onto my card. So I've decided to fold it down, make sure it was going to fold flat, hold that piece there, then add the glue to the tab. This way I can shut the front of my card and hold it down while the glue is setting. When I open the card, I hope you're able to see where the tabs are glued and how the fold in the center is. Maybe that'll help kind of get you to understand the mechanism piece of this. And as you can see, it stays open, which really makes it a nice card to be on display. I add glue onto my heart, one of them, onto the bottom, kind of a corner area of the bottom of the heart. And it does lay in there, as you can see, sideways when the card is kind of shut. And this way, when it opens, you're going to see it kind of fan inward. I do the same thing for the heart on the left side. I find it easier to actually keep the card a little closed in order to put the heart on there. I just kind of squeeze it, and then I go inside the inner part of the card with my fingers because I was a little afraid of gluing the heart onto the back side of my card. I did not want that to do that. Otherwise, it wouldn't work properly. So that's why I'm just getting some glue off my fingers. But here you can see when you open it up, those hearts just kind of fan inward together. I really do enjoy an interactive card, so this was a lot of fun to make, and I'm sure to receive. The blank square area in the front of the mechanism is where you're going to put your sentiment. So I have my rectangle sentiment here. I put some liquid adhesive into that blank square area, and then I'm going to place my sentiment right at the bottom edge of that. I thought it was easiest to shut the card, and that way I made sure the alignment was really good and the card would shut flat. And there we have it, our sentiment with the little hearts. I did not forget about my puppies. They are going to go on the center of these hearts on the inside of my card. So I am taking the one that has the balloon. I'm going to put a little liquid adhesive on that, and then I'm going to put that onto the center of the left heart. As you can see, I am doing here. I kind of make sure it's aligned to the bottom, but not too far down, as I don't want it to have any interference with the mechanism and how it works. Once I have the left puppy down, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other little puppy that is holding the envelope. Look at that puppy. They're being nice to each other. One is bringing a balloon, one is bringing a handmade card, just like you're giving to your Valentines. So my idea for this was when you are opening the card, the puppies are coming together. So you will actually watch when you open the card how they are far apart and then they come together with bringing each other the Valentine gifts. I cut out a couple extra hearts from the die set using just the stitched inner heart piece, and I'm adding one to the center front of my card above those little puppies. I think it just kind of added a little bit of extra with all of these hearts kind of coming together in these various sizes. I wanted another one, but I couldn't quite figure out where initially I wanted to place it and decided that the bottom right corner, it actually looked really cute and would still give enough space for me to write a message to the recipient. And remember, the set does also come with squares, so if you'd prefer, you can put squares instead of the hearts. But I think this card turned out very cute. Here's a close-up of the front of my card, and then when you open it, here's how you can see all of that kind of come together with those little puppies. I hope from turning this a little bit to the side that you're also able to see how that mechanism works. Product links are in the description box, and I hope you enjoyed this video and you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be reminded of more crafty fun. Take care.